Hi guys. My friend sent me a picture from Urban Decay, and Urban Decay is pissed off a lot of people with this said picture because it's a promotion for their new eyeliner line called Razor Sharp. And in the picture, it's just the woman with the normal, makeup swatches and then the eyeliner next to her. And of course, people were, putting two things together going razor sharp on her wrist, self-harm. Now, Urban Decay released a reply saying that it was simply them doing what they normally do. They were just doing the swatches to show, what it looked like, and that it was an honest mistake. And I believe that it was an honest mistake. Was it kind of stupid to name it Razor Sharp? Yes, but they did it. Whatever. It did bring up several points for me, discussion topics for you guys. One being, well, first I want to say in the future, or if there ever has been, because I didn't really want to do research on the topic, but I know it just seems like something that would happen, that people would use mental illness or the things that come from it as a marketing campaign for anything. Not necessarily, like, when I say marketing campaign, I don't mean like something that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention would do. I'm saying if Urban Decay, which they didn't, but say they did intentionally do it for whatever stupid, slanderous reason, there's got to be some other instance of that being an intentional thing. And I just wanted to point out, it is not a good idea to market something with self-harm or mental illness in any way. I can see it's for the shock value, where people are like, oh my god, that's so bad, but that just you upset people who go through mental problems like that, like me. Like, I didn't get personally, like, really upset about it, but I can see where if people were to use, like, suicide or self-harm to promote something, then it would probably be a little upsetting because it would be kind of disrespectful to people who deal with that. But just, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to use that stuff even for the shock value, because it's just kind of like blatantly throwing it in the people's face like, haha, your problems are... People don't want to talk about suicide in what we talk about on this channel because it feels like a taboo, because they feel wrong, or they feel like, just for whatever reason. I still have not wrapped my mind around the concept that self-harm and mental illness is shunned in our society. So much so that people would use it as a joke to market something. I don't believe that it should be used that way to sell a product just because it's, like, seen as a taboo. The reason that we have this channel is to talk about these things that other people don't want to talk about in a respectable manner, to bring up, to educate, to bring forth discussion amongst people, amongst you guys, and to help you guys. So you benefit by finding resources to help you. And just, I don't know, the idea of marketing self-harm or mental illnesses to promote something just because it's I feel like I'm just repeating the same idea, like, oh, this is bad, oh, look at this taboo, oh, people brush it under the carpet, rug, not carpet, brush it under the rug, don't even think about self-harming, buy our eyeliner, because it's edgy. Again, I'm not saying Urban Decay did that, I'm just saying there's probably, in the history of, there's probably been some dumb marketing campaign that's marketed something and used that kind of stuff as a way to do it. And I think I barely remember, I can't remember what it was. I'm probably glad I don't remember exactly because it upset me. But they ended up using, it was a pet commercial, that's what it was. And you'd have to look it up if you were really morbidly intrigued. But it was kind of based off the comic where the man, And the gist of the commercial was that the man ends up killing himself, and then the dog eats him. And I'm like, what the actual hell is this? What? It was something stupid, and it was insinuated that the dog ate him, but you could see the man, in the comic, and then the dog, and I'm just like, who's gonna watch this video or this commercial and go, I need to go buy some dog food right now, because if I die, my dog's gonna eat me. Shock value. But just, it wasn't on TV, but I can't remember where I saw it, but it was just, what even? But, so my discussion questions for you guys. I think I had two, but I forgot one. I think I forgot. I don't know, my mind's just derailing because I'm remembering that really morbid dog food commercial. My question for you is, what do you think, about that? Not so much the Urban Decay, but what do you think about people using mental illnesses to promote products, not necessarily products intended to help those with self-harm, like not like the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They make a lot of really helpful videos, but I'm talking about, like, say someone like the dog food commercial, or like, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? And also, my other discussion question was, what do you think, like, if you had to make a, like, just commercial or something to reach out and be like, hey, this is depression, or this is self-harming, how would you go about that? What would you do to reach out and kind of educate educate people on the stuff that they think is humorous or glamorous or edgy? I think, like, a few years back there was also something going on where they thought, like, you see it a lot with, like, really skinny models. It's not exactly the same, but they subconsciously promote the idea, like, that eating disorders are beautiful. And there were there was a company that did mock campaigns for beauty products, and it was a perfect example of using shock value, not so much to go, hey, look, self-harming and stuff is glamorous, but as a way of saying this is bad. And it was a bunch of women that were modeling clothes. They were oversized clothes. They were very thin women. These were women that they looked for and said, these women have eating disorders. Let's show the world, these women that would be considered beautiful models, all photoshopped up. Let's take these women and really show the world that they're not, this isn't something that you want to be. Here's them wearing these fancy clothes, but then there was the behind the scenes photos of one of the women, like, in the bathroom, or taking diet pills. And it was really this way of using shock value to say, holy crap, a lot of these women who strive to be models have eating disorders. And it was a way of saying, like, eating disorders are not beautiful. I said dyslexia. Bulimia and anorexia are not beautiful. And when you see, like, the really thin models and they're promoting, like, them wearing extra large clothing on this really thin woman, it really promotes the idea that, oh, I have to be this thin to be beautiful, But I could go on and on and on about how stupid people market things unintentionally or intentionally. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, that's because you guys are too sensitive nowadays, but I feel like that's the problem. Like, people aren't sensitive enough, especially towards topics that really matter, Like, yeah, I understand a lot of people get really pissed off about just the silliest, stupidest things. But there are a lot of really harsh topics like the ones we cover on the podcast and on the channel that aren't put out there enough, because they're really big problems and people just don't want to face them. They don't want to deal with them. Like, if people brought up eating disorders and depression and self-harming and just any kind of mental illness, if it was brought up more and put out in public light where people had to deal with it, then they wouldn't be, such about it. They'd stop ignoring it as if it was just going to disappear, Start caring a little bit more about things that need to be cared about. Not so much about an eyeliner named Razor Sharp. I mean, yeah, it's a stupid name, but it's not like, oh, this is the end of the world. Focus on stuff like that. Really, really screwed up. Like, that was an unintentional error on their part. But the dog food commercial was just, they did that for the shock value. They did it. There was no reason to market suicide as a way to sell dog food. There was no reason to do that whatsoever. I think they were poking fun at it as a joke, really. But yeah, those are my discussion topics for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I have quite a few more videos that I have to record tonight. So I'll see you guys really soon.